We're counting down the hours left in this 48-hour cash game as the world's top players fight it out for a fistful of dollars. Stay as long as you can handle it or as deep as your pockets are. This is one big game.
There's been a host of famous faces in Season 5 of the big game, and it's been an incredible 42 hours so far.
Time to play the game.
The main thing is to bring a lot of cash. When you come to my game, bring a big bag.
This game is like my career. It was going so well, and now it's all downhill. Yay! Oh, drunk people cheering for me.
If you tell me it's mine, I'm gonna take it.
You the man, you the man, you the man.
Oh my God, I've never been so owned.
I'm so not D-list. I'm C- perhaps.
Oh, would you stop it, Miss Tilly?
I'm not allowed to say anything because Viffa just shouts over me. What are you guys doing here?
I don't know, I'm just donking about, really.
Is this the guy that we really want at the poker table with us?
Such a lucky fish I am, innit?
Did you not think I was ever going to play back at you? Come on.
You don't even play poker anymore. Why are you even on the show?
We're playing the game now. I just hate this cash game so much. Bike time for you.
I can laugh because I know I'm broke.
Having a nightmare.
Everyone's gonna laugh at me.
Golly, how did she talk me down? Oh. Jeez.
Tilly, you're killing it. You must be up 100 grand.
I can't help it. Let other people play good. I'll hit the flop.
It's never easy.
Pretty sick.
Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
I'm going home, mate. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here.
In the last few minutes, Tony G has topped Tilly as Season 5's biggest winner.
I've never been this nervous. What are you doing to me here? Aces!
Ace king.
Date with a mate. I am the greatest. To get all the money in like this, who can do this in the whole world? There's no one. Only Tony G can do this. This is the greatest show in the world. Unbelievable. It probably never happened in poker ever before. My car was waiting out the back. I was going to go home back to London and bang aces. 2 qualifiers. They both paid me off like slot machines. I've got so much money, I don't know what to do with it. I love it. I love the game. Thanks so much for having me here.
With just 6 hours remaining and a host of big names ready to get back into the game, it's going to be an eventful close to the Party Poker Big Game 5. A lot of pounds have changed hands in this big game. The biggest winner, though, Tony G. He's got the most of them, 110,000 pounds, and still at the table. Who knows how far he'll go? Jennifer Tilly had a great night. Roland the Wolf still firing away. Looking at the losing side, they're all red. Rob Young finally called it quits of late, 50,000 pounds down. Sam Trickett might be back, although he had left for good. Mike Matusow, though, still trying to get even.
He's been waiting in the wings now for his chance to tear up the big game table. Coming in at seat number 8, it is our online qualifier, Mr. Fredrik Keitel.
How much a bottle of this champagne?
Here he comes.
And sitting down in Rob Young's vacated seat, I believe it's our last Party Poker online qualifier. We're in the big game 5.
I don't want it.
Tony,
There's some mixed results, obviously. Mark Kohler has been the model for these online big game qualifiers, these wild cards. He won about 10,000 pounds, and maybe save the best for last.
10,000, 20,000?
Depends on the opposition.
I'll be the first to say I don't play online poker.
You said depends one too many times.
Roberto, so you...
I'll tell you what, he's going to get the full brunt of Tony G. If he wanted a front row seat to the power of the G.
Not the players. The players want.
And look, let's face it, some people do. He's got it.
Yeah, the girls might want champagne.
Tony deserves congratulations.
Give everybody in the club.
By the way, in case you don't know, you can't hear what's going on here. This is a rather large poker club.
Hey, wait, I'm playing.
Tony G has just offered to buy unlimited drinks for everybody in this poker club in Nottingham. The place is gonna fall down.
I'll give him the biggest tip ever.
And
150.
Tony deserves
I'm going to be broke at the end of the day. I'm going to give all the money away.
Tony was dealt aces. He was dealt aces. Well done for being dealt aces.
I couldn't do anything about it.
He was dealt aces.
oh yeah,
I had no control.
it's kicked off.
You just folded the first hand. You might get the forced eviction of the G. You're not allowed to fold like this. You have to open yourself up to attack.
You can't just stand position in this game.
No.
And it looks like Matusow has finally hit a little piece of the flop. So there's, look at the Wolf's got the show, boy. We got fun. Martin's Adeniya is not going to think this is fun. Just a question. He's only got 11,000 pounds here.
Cool.
Is he going to go broke?
Cool.
Trying to find out a way to call this.
I'm
trying to think of like two combinations of cards that can come.
You would call in my hand.
Oh, 2 overs?
Yeah, 2 overs.
Cool.
Spiff's telling him to loosen up.
With 4 people in now, he pretty much knows his aces are in trouble.
Loosen
right?
up. We're gonna bet 3,000.
Yeah, they're obviously in a lot of trouble now. Getting all these calls is going to end up saving him money. If this had been a heads-up between Matusow and
my God,
this
Ron,
would be,
there's not even that much money in there.
Could have got ugly for him, but he should be able to get away pretty comfortably.
Now, what should Matusow do? The Wolf has flat called this straight. Is Matusow thinking about passing?
Pass. Pass.
1 card.
He's done it. He did it. He passed it. If it comes at 10, he's going to flip out. If it comes at 5, he's going to flip out. I think he's going to flip out.
What happened on the turn?
Tony G bet 3,000. Roland called, and Matusow passed.
Wow.
Check.
That is absolutely
I'm beating the board. I'm beating Ace King.
Just tell me.
6s. 6s.
You want to chop?
No.
You want to chop?
I can't chop. I want to chop. You got 6s too. I know. You got 6s.
Can I chop? Yes or no?
Yes. You have 6s.
I don't have 6s.
Oh my God, just
You don't have 6s and you want to chop?
Yeah, can I chop?
You can't chop then.
Okay, give me the pot.
He's fooling around. It's a slow roll.
In the next few minutes, another one of our players will be leaving the table, evicted by the other players.
Who's not eligible to be voted off?
Okay, so who's not eligible is our online qualifier, which is number 8.
And everyone else is eligible.
And Tony G is the highest V-chip right now.
Tony G
So he's also exempt. Players, if you could please take your cards and write down the name of the player you want to see evicted from the table, and then show it to the whole card cameras.
I think I just voted for myself.
You're a good chance.
Hello. Well, maybe he's trying to change the law. We're just trying to needle him. Look at that. Look at that big smile he's got.
That grinchy grin on.
Oh my God.
You got to open the pen.
Oh, these guys are so naughty. This is the good thing about the player eviction, just the ultimate naughtiness of it all.
Mike, I voted wrong every single time.
I was kidding, Mike. I was kidding. I was thinking he is going to go out because he just plays too good.
No, he's writing it out.
Mike, I was kidding.
Andrulis picked Alec. That's no surprise. I think they know that they were the 2 on the chopping block.
And the player evicted from the table by the other players is Alec.
What a stint Torelli has had here. Over 30 hours and kind of another surprise. No, I'm something. The table who's been for 30 hours. But Alec will go to the rail. That long session ending up a 14,000-pound loser. Tony G, over 125,000 pounds in front of him. 106K of that profit. The Wolf adding to his stack, as is Roberto Romanello. Adeniya and Matusow down, but it's been a great stint for Torelli.
It's been a real marathon for Alec Torelli. You've been on the table for what, 30-ish hours?
Something, 30, 32. It's in the vicinity of some too long. 24 too long, really.
I mean, I left and came back, and I thought that maybe you'd gone and had some sleep and come back because you were refreshed. You had a clean shirt on.
Yeah, it's sad. All the workers came back, and that's when you know you've been there too long. When you see the same people on a different shift and you're still there, it's like, oh gosh.
Well, he has been quite a figure in this game, Alec Torelli, when you think back, of course, the battles he had with Jennifer, Tilly, and 30 hours takes a lot out of you, Dusty. I mean, He's quite an athlete, Alec, but after this poker session, man, he looked done.
Well, that's the nature of this game. I mean,
It's mine.
you can't just come here with your strong poker mind and expect that to be enough. You need to have this superhuman ability to focus for 30 hours straight, and it's no.
I have one, yeah.
You know, it's just not a guarantee you can be able to do that.
I mean, you give me some of the worst players in the world, and their A game is a lot better than a lot of the best players in the world. The game, I'm telling you, there's not that much of a difference, you know.
Yeah, they'd be wise to kind of shut it down a little bit and kind of pick their spots a little bit more rather than trying to put themselves in these conundrums when they're not thinking as well. But then they don't want to get evicted and become boring for television, so it's you kind of end up in a conundrum there as a player.
Oh yeah, no ice in there. We need ice. Just a cup of ice, we just chuck it in.
Tony is just, I mean, not as only is he having fun, he's shouting, he's yelling. At every stage of this big game, he's just gotten smashed with the deck.
Cool.
Yeah, he really has. It's been the Tony G show. It was the Viffer show last year, and now we have Tony G just destroying everybody.
I got options.
Did Roland just flat call there with the 5s for 1,000?
Yeah.
He made an overcall?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Matusow bet it. Tony called and DeWolf overcalled for $1,000.
The only way you do that is just because you want to represent a lot of strength, thinking like, man, this guy must have a real hand to be overcalling two people like that. But he didn't end up making a play on the turn. You know,
I got it.
He can't be calling for value.
He's got the blockers to bluff the straight.
Raise 10,000 total.
I was waiting. I set the trap.
Oh, that would be brilliant. We get us all on together.
Wow.
So he's representing the 4-5, and Tony's got to be thinking, what could he overcall with and then raise this river with that I beat? I think this is going to work.
Fold.
He bluffed him. He showed it.
Squeeze it like baccarat. Like baccarat.
Very good job.
What's that? Wheels are up.
I wonder if Roland kind of feels like, you know, there's a big, I mean, maybe he's just completely lost his marbles, but is there a sort of an upside right now to trying to tilt Tony G a little bit? You know, he's only got a couple hours to do it. I mean, Roland's not a fool, really.
Well, Tony G's got all the money, so you got to tilt the guy with all the money, right? Especially when you got him a direct position on him. So I think that's
I won the pot by calling the
trying to do.
It's enough now.
And he is a good guy to bluff right now because he doesn't want to call big bets with marginal hands.
Is it okay? Can we get a service? Is it okay?
No, he does.
Yeah, and if you're looking, you know, if you're in Roland's shoes, you've got 3 people on that don't have much of a stack. You know, Matusow and Fredrik and Martins, and so he's going to be looking to, you know, if he's going to win the big pots, he's going to have to win them off Tony G or
The better you get as a
Andrulis
the more you win, the better your
so he
bank
might be attacking this player specifically.
5 players.
We've got them all coming to the table in a minute.
What a play. He decided to hit the straight on the river.
I know what I need.
Oh, there's a lot of hearts out there.
Hold on.
Harvey Keitel, Roland DeWolf.
Yeah, this has got potential for a lot of action here. Especially for
After that beat.
what just happened.
I was shocked you were even in the top 2.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I thought I was going
DeWolf's
to be
bet
missed like him
6,000
and
into
one of the
250 pounds with the 3-7 of hearts. What a spot for the qualifier!
All in.
What a spot for the
Wow, he's
qualifier!
going to get it in with Roland drawing almost dead.
Fold.
How much is it?
Fold.
Not much more. About 800 more.
On your backs, come on.
It's only the money I stole off Tony last time.
And the qualifier, barring a miracle, is going to double up out here.
It's 600 and he bet
You
6,000.
can't even believe look how good shape he's in. Look how good shape he's in.
And Fredrik was really happy about calling that because Roland would never play like Jack 9 or Ace Jack that way. He knew it had to be some type of like queen 10 of hearts or some hand that he was just crushing.
3 players.
You're ahead.
So good for the qualifier here. Like I said again, barring a miracle, this is a.
You have him.
I think it was a miracle help.
I don't have to show.
Well, he's running 7s, running 3s.
Come on,
That's impossible.
Come on. Whoa. So one.
Oh, boy.
What a strange.
No outs.
No outs. What?
Well,
Okay.
I had an out.
Tell you what, there seems to
That
be.
would have been sick.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't put it in what they sent.
I'm not afraid to play this.
Tony, can you give him another round, please?
Bluffed me out. That was brilliant.
Roland actually picked up the best card in the deck on the turn there. Gave 4 clean outs.
I was shocked.
Three, excuse me.
There seems to be some sort of trend here in making sure you muck your cards in big pots when you have outs. I don't know. We'll be back for more at the Dusk Till Dawn Casino here at the Party Poker Big Game 5.
Hoping to make a better appearance this time round. It's his second time on the big game table. It's Mr. Toby Lewis.
And sitting down in seat number 4, Toby Lewis returning to the big game. It was a brief stay. His last time in, he's taking Alec Torelli's seat.
As well. If it's exact, I win.
And
Okay, you can have it if it's exact.
You got it
sure?
for 5.
Then I'll be off too. If the
Yeah,
players
yeah,
want
it's
it,
just like
I'll always put my head up first. It's up to the people. But 4:30 to double.
I don't think you'll make it through the double vote off, buddy.
Okay.
Don't speak to him like
Tony G invoking his own rules, it sounds like. And
yeah, get it up, Warren.
it's my
getting through the
game.
double vote off is going to
We're
be
having a
tough.
double vote off. And really, it is his game. Who can argue with Tony G right now? Table
Alex,
captain.
like, talk him in speech.
Matusow may moan, but
My repip and yours.
he'll play along. There are a lot of people waiting to get back in this game as we rouse to the close.
Yeah, all set.
Keitel, looking to be one of the qualifiers who can win money. He's got obviously a good reputation, but the qualifiers have not done well here. Not here at the big game 5.
5 rolled off. How long have I been on Tuesday?
In a pot with the wolf and a head. I'll call it. Fredrik. And you know, you'd expect, Dusty, you'd expect Keitel to want to get the money in.
Yeah, DeWolf thinks he's just betting this for value at this point. I think he's protecting his hand. And I imagine Keitel's at least going to call this. He's basically treating his hand as a complete bluff catcher at this point.
Wow.
Now he's improved to 2 pair, but he probably wishes he hadn't improved. And it's going to go check, check, and Fredrik will take down the pot.
At the moment, Tony G's ahead 100,000 pounds plus. Romanello's ahead, so is DeWolf and Andrulis, but as you can see, he's ahead more, Tony G, than all the others put together.
No, don't drink, Mike.
I'm not letting you drink.
You're not supposed to drink.
You're not allowed to drink.
Roland says, I've got lines you've never even heard of. You've never even thought of these lines. You think you can play on the edges? Watch this.
Raise, 350 total.
Really, I had just 2 random cards. Everyone's so pro.
He's just a funny kid.
How does this guy play? Very good player.
The burden of genius rests heavy.
1989. Do you know his name?
Look at that stack.
Yes. What is his name? His name is John Williams.
Your banner is just shocking.
I think he was born. He wasn't even born in '89.
Oh.
I was born in 89.
Yeah. Is your father a powerlifter?
You asked me a guy's name.
Andrulis 3-betting the King 10.
An online kid that's playing all these, you know, mergers and all.
Pretty light 3-bet, which is not uncommon for him, as we've seen.
Yeah.
How much is the cash?
It's funny because
What
it's.
the hell does that mean, winning an EPT? You won an EPT.
I think Andrulis is part of that school where You do it the first time a guy, this is the first time Toby Lewis is open. They just get right on him, don't they?
All you need to know is be careful, he's a good player.
Yeah, they...
rather than wait a while, let him do it 2 or 3 times.
Might as well welcome to the table properly.
And, Toby's of that mold.
2 players.
Yeah. I just moved in.
Second one?
I've got one. Yeah.
He's got a little bit of the sickie in himself.
We'll go to
Check.
This hand's going to be really tough for Toby to play, isn't it?
Might be a game.
Would you be doing the exact same thing so far that he is?
Well, what I'm not going to do is call out a position just for set value.
You got to apologize.
He's going to have to,
I know, but
he's got to assume, well, he doesn't really know, I guess, being new to the table, how aggressive Andrulis is 3-betting. But in reality, as we know, as often as he's 3-betting, Lewis is actually pretty far ahead of his range from the hands that he might be 3-betting and betting the flop with. It's the type of board that is pretty good flop to be c-betting if you're Andrulis.
I'm friends with the old man.
And Lewis can't really check raise because it's hard to rep much, isn't it? Besides a flush draw and stuff.
If someone doesn't deserve,
well, it's hard to rep much, and you're also basically turning your hand into a bluff in that case, versus your hand might have more value just continuing to bluff catch Andrulis. But this is probably one of the best cards in the deck for Andrulis to hit here, because it's just going to be real hard for Lewis to continue.
31-25.
I never catch off on him.
So it's really time to pass, isn't it?
Yeah, this is when he starts to maybe get behind the range of hands that Andrulis would be playing this way. This is just, there's really no card on the river. He only has 1 out to his set now. The 9 of clubs would put a flush on the board, and as we know, give Andrulis the best hand. This is just one. It's going to be really hard to, because if you call here, you pretty much have to be calling most rivers as well.
Right, because there's not a lot of rivers that make it worse. I mean, there are some, but it's pretty bad.
And when he calls his hand is so face up, I mean, if I'm Andrulis, I could never help myself. I would be definitely bombing the river if he check called. I'd bomb pretty much any river, except maybe like a jack.
Wow, wow, wow. So, and Andrulis has got it. He's got to be thinking that same thing. Well, no, got out of it.
Well, after making 2 excellent calls, I actually think it'll go check here. Just even though Andrulis is going to think he's going to have the best hand a lot, it's so hard to get value. And he will be value betting himself some percentage of the time by betting there. I mean,
right. That Toby got out of it actually.
Right. He could occasionally have a flush. Toby could. It's not super likely, but he could have King Jack quite a bit.
It's actually quite funny. Andrulis says, "I don't want to straddle. I don't want to straddle. I'm raising in the dark." Which means he gets absolutely no value.
He wanted to put a $25 more so he didn't have the option to back raise.
That wasn't his best decision.
It's quite a sense of humor, really. It's quite funny.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see Roberto go ahead and raise it here.
Well, Keitel's already made it 375.
Raised to 775 now.
Oh, okay.
So this is now the, is this a 4-bet or a 3-bet?
It's technically a 4-bet, but it's basically a 3-bet, yeah. The one raise was blind. So.
And it's here?
Tony G got the button.
I'm going to start moving in soon. I have a few drinks.
I don't mind his call here, especially given Roberto's.
I might have to quit this game and start the must move game at the rail. Everybody's loosening it up.
Oh.
The rail might be a hell of a must move game.
775. Raise guys in.
Cool.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to stuff my stacks up.
The wheels are off.
3 players.
I don't even know what I'm playing here.
You call it out first.
Tony G's got everyone in just awful shape here on this flop.
Just the 3 outs on the flop. Come on, G.
Fold.
Banter.
Banter, friendly banter.
That was sick. Blind man stuff. That was sick.
Chit chat.
You can pay me one straight.
Why once? What's the point of paying you one straight?
I'll follow the next one.
Oh, I will.
All right, well, pay me 1,600.
Okay, I'll do a deal with you.
Yeah.
This is the deal I'll do with you. I'll call you one bet, right? Okay?
Yeah.
As long as you promise me it goes check on the turn, and then we'll go from there. Is that fair?
What kind of deals are you making, man?
I'll ask him quickly. I'm willing.
If you're gonna call,
yes,
I
I
agree.
You make it
You agree 100% to call?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
We don't care what you do.
It's an interesting proposition.
Wow. I feel like they're telling each other what they have.
Check and then...
Check.
Hey, he's wearing a tuxedo. Somebody check underneath that tuxedo. Make sure there's no sign.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Hey, check under that tuxedo. Make sure there's no signs under there.
Wow.
3,000.
If the river had been...
He's check raised. I mean, he's he can just massively overbet here, right?
Yeah, I don't... Well, the pot was...
Tony's bet 3,000, so I mean...
The pot, it's 87, so he's going to get check raised here. It looks like he bet just over half the pot. If the pot total is 87.5 now, and he bet 3 of us to 57. Tony G's confused now. He can't imagine Romanello would ever play kings or aces this way, so he's going, how in the world am I beat? It has to be specifically pocket tens.
Well, or some weird, like, ace-2 suited. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
If I get it in,
but to 3-bet ace-2 suited and check call the flop,
I'm like, oops.
I don't know how you could put that as a big part of his range.
Walk away. It's over.
I can't imagine
he can't be pocket tens. I mean, the whole thing is, he's got a 10. It just can't be pocket 10.
There's only one other. Yeah.
You know, it's so much. That's like the most unlikely thing.
I think he's going to have to just pay it off.
Really good job. 10,000, 25 more?
Yeah. We might not be buying many drinks here.
Wow, this has been that was a weird proposition by Romanello.
Well, I think Tony G should consider himself lucky that Romanello did that, because everyone just kept quiet and played the pot normally.
Right,
Tony G might have lost a lot more.
You're so right.
Because on the turn,
fold his hand?
top 2 against.
Well, he's thinking of folding.
It's incredible. But like, why would he offer that to me?
He's actually thinking of folding.
There's nothing on the board. He would only offer it to me if he had a set. He's got a full of 7s.
I like this table.
Must have a full.
If you show a bluff here, if you show a bluff here, you have no idea when he folded. How big this game is.
I have a full house.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
You can pay me if you want to see it now.
Just show it.
No, listen to me. You can pay me, and I'm gonna give it to the dealers.
How much do I have to pay?
If you give me 300, I'll give it to the dealers, and I'll show you.
Oh,
it's a tip for the dealers.
That's a fair price. That's a fair price.
For the dealers, I don't mind.
That's for you, okay?
Please show nothing. Please show nothing. Please.
I turned.
How good do I play?
What did you have?
Queen 10.
That's for the dealers. That's for you.
Respect.
I ended up having a free roll on him. I just know, like, why would he make
the positive spin on this and go, wow.
There's no other way.
When he just lose 4,000 or 5,000 pounds
Check on the turn. That's what
situation.
We're back after this with more from the Party Poker Big Game 5. A full table of big names in action, and there's a queue of players waiting for a spot to become available.
My
so
theory, I've come to a theory.
Let's head
My
back to the
theory
table.
is he's bored playing like everybody else.
It
must be.
Fredrik Keitel, because Channing
But
actually quite well known in the online community as Fisheye 1984. You know him.
I do. I've played quite a bit with him for a number of years, and I was obviously here commentating and watched him play, having no idea who he was.
All right. Does he have a shark face or a donkey face on your HUD machine? You're not going to tell, are you?
I have him marked as a shark. To be honest, this guy could play some poker. It's hard to stay around in the cash games for a lot of years at any sort of high stake limit without being able to truly be able to play the game.
Basically a limped pot here. Only 153 ways pre-flop. And that is a big flop for Roberto, who bets right out. Oh, Keitel will be loving his pair of sixes.
What's her name, by the way? Roberto Romanello. I have a pair.
Romeo, right?
I'll be honest with you, I have a pair. If you have top pair, you're winning.
You seem like an honest guy.
I am an honest guy.
You're a poker player, right?
Yeah.
This is great. Usually Romanello is the one interrogating, but Keitel's got banter of his own.
Okay, I haven't got a 9, but I still think I got the best hand. So I'm gonna bet. You should give me respect.
Didn't you say you had top pair not beat?
I have a 4. I have a 4. Bad kicker, but I think I got the best hand.
You think?
I'm right, didn't I?
I'm not sure.
I mean, if I've got a 4, I've got the best hand, yeah? Be honest with me. I've been honest with you. Right. So now fold your hand like a good boy.
Yeah, let's go to the next
I'm gonna see one more.
I told you to fold your hand.
You're not my dad.
It is Battle of the Blind, so Romanello is like a lot of stuff he could have, right?
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
I haven't got a jack.
He's playing this hand, what I would say,
no
in a
nine.
very standard fashion.
But you have something with your ear, right?
There's nothing open.
It's on you.
Soap helps.
It's on you.
Soap is good.
It's on you. It's on you.
Whether or not he calls the server is going to depend
I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff, okay?
Roberto.
Just in case.
You can still check.
No, I
I would
don't
probably
check.
guess that he's check calling here more often.
Roland, this bet is in need. Roland, this bet is in need of you.
Thank you, mate.
I've got a 4.
Roberto, sorry.
And?
I took your Roberto.
I got 4 bad kicker.
5,000.
Truth.
How honest are you about that?
I haven't got 2 pair. I haven't got 2 pair. But you still need a pair of balls to call that bet, so you're probably going to fold. So just let it go.
He's a needler.
Is he a liar?
He's a needler.
Well, he talked himself out of a lot of money against Tony G a few hands back. Is he going to talk himself out of another?
Listen,
90 bit.
I'm up from the UK, so.
you're not going to be the first person I've bullied, so just
How much is that anyway? 5,700 total?
Fredrik knows he never has
How much
4 or
is
5
it?
here. He's advertising.
I've overbet the pot. Don't do it. Trust me, don't do it. Just hold your hand.
You have something with your ear. It's kind of weird.
Hold your hand, seriously. If you call, you win. There's a slight chance that I'm lying, but you probably got the worst hand.
All right, guys, we're going to make a decision.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's make
Okay, let it go.
decision time.
I'm allowed to show here, right?
Yeah.
I have 6s, so it's not that easy.
No, not at all. If you have 3 jacks, it's easy.
Same as ace.
Well,
There's no difference. Ace 2 even is the same.
He's going to pass, isn't he?
I got ace 5.
I know you had ace 5.
It was close.
When you looked at it, you said
It was
someone
close.
like that hand. I knew you had ace 5.
Someone in the car park when they had
Funny,
ace 5.
having Keitel. He quite enjoyed that.
I didn't think you had ace 5 until you said, I'm going to look at my hand.
I guess I need to nearly
Roberto
call
would do well to duct tape his mouth because I think he spent a lot of money talking the last couple of pots.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but like, when it works, it works. Do you think he could have got called just by keeping quiet, perhaps?
Well, I'm mostly
there.
referring, yeah,
Tony G hand.
I'm mostly referring to the Tony G hand where he clearly
That's what you
cost
had.
himself a boatload of money.
Because I know you're not
Small
allowed.
blinds.
yeah, he lied like 10 times in
No,
that
but
hand.
he was
like 10 times
but he was.
In that hand alone.
Yeah, I know, but you have to know him. I know.
Okay.
Is Toby under the gun?
Toby
You
under
know
the
a
gun
liar,
here.
he's not a liar.
I knew on that last
All
one.
you need to know is I'm a good person.
Yeah, he is a good.
Opens to 350. I can't imagine rolling going anywhere with ace 5 of hearts.
50.
Straddle,
Straddle.
raise, and a call.
Yep.
Just the usual action in the big game: the straddle, the raise, and the call. And you're forced to act.
Have you even had a sip of any? Have you drank any drinks?
Some epic spots. Where, I
Or
mean,
you
you
just
just
getting
drink.
everybody drunk
You're
and
having a
holding
reception.
hands?
Took away the drink.
Who took away his
monsters?
I don't know. They're just gone.
It's not possible.
It's
not possible.
Right.
Yeah.
1600.
They didn't bring ice.
Well, I thought he was going to just shove in.
16?
Fredrik are a little deeper. I couldn't imagine him folding. Well, we know Roland will fold, given the stack sizes.
That's close. Romeo. How do we get to Romeo?
Fredrik doesn't want to fold this, I'm sure, but he might feel like he has to, given that he's a little short at the table relative to the others, but he's going to call anyway.
Just call it now. Yeah, that's bad though. But
I called a hand I should never call with. He should
You guys need to play
but I got so
faster.
much stick for calling it.
It's a TV show.
Earlier on.
It's a TV show. You're
Come
not
on,
supposed to
you
play
guys
well.
can't play so slow.
Okay, I'll do it for the public. That's it.
Okay.
Alright.
Only because.
He's got a pair. He's still got a pair. Pocket 4s, pocket 3s, or pocket 2s.
Which one?
100 more.
Okay, you write down one of them, okay?
Way too many hands.
I'll give you.
He's got a small pocket pair. That's
I
why
never
he
lie,
gets
yeah? Hey, you write down one of them.
He
I
may
got one
feel
of
that
them.
this is just a good spot to maybe
Look!
gamble anyway, hoping that he can start
gotta
to
take
get
it
so
from
he can
He's a 2 to 1
You better like bet
2 to 1
to play a little deeper.
Because like he's got about 13,000, but really he's only got 5. He can get 13 in equity.
Let's discuss this flop. This is the most
advantage.
ridiculous flop I've ever seen.
Roland.
Everyone has something.
See Romanello.
Roland might have tricked the soul here.
Roland might have the 2s, 3s, or 4s.
And Tony's just called, but Keitel's gonna shove. This is like a setup.
Well, he might not. I actually think he gets away from this, and the reason why is he's got to think that he's either leading out with some type of flush draw a high percentage of the time, and he can get it in real bad here against a hand like ace-5 of spades. And I really think he's actually going to fold around this flop. He's a really good player, and I think this is a bad spot for him to shove.
It's great entertainment for somebody.
Whatever.
And what do I know?
Well, it's the
I didn't think calling was going to be too much for an option for him, given he only has half a pot bet on the turn.
Tony just made 2 pair. He's a big shot.
And he's so much, Tony. I mean, again, this time he by not that he should ever have fast played that, or should he have, Tony? I mean, you know, it's like a hindsight thing, but he would have gotten so much money.
Oh, he would have fast played it for sure if he had. If he knew what everyone had, but
overall slow play was the thing with all the guys behind. And
yeah, not necessarily. I would just generally lead there. I think that you can start to look a little suspicious when you're popping everybody pre-flop and then you're checking, calling, and then out of the blue checking, raising. You can kind of carry your own action there a little bit.
Well, this is another reason why Tony G, you know, that ace, okay, it looks like a safe card, but Romanello's put in 10 and has got 36,000 back, and like 3-5 is certainly like a little part of his range here. I mean, does Tony want to raise here and stick 36,000 in?
Well,
does he?
I think he's. Well, it looks like he's just going to call again.
My qualifying friend.
See, and here's a good spot. If Tony G had simply just played the hand fast, all the money would have gone on the flop, and Romanello would have been drawing dead. Without a question. Tony G slow playing this is going to cost him some money because Romanello might be able to find a fold now, putting Tony G on a hand like ace-king.
Well, Tony G might not raise him. I mean, why didn't Tony G raise him yet?
There's at least out of this 2
You think Tony G is
too good value? At least one of these pieces having a massive block. I'm not sure who it is.
About 10, I think.
I'm not sure what Romanello thinks Tony G might have. Maybe.
Well, it could be ace-king. I mean, you know, now it definitely could be ace-king.
Yeah.
Under 10.
Roll in.
Tell me, I have to put at least 1 stack forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Tony G didn't know what they had, but his slow play is probably going to cost.
He did re-raise pre-flop, didn't he?
36,000. That cost that Roberto was cost before. They
Yeah.
should have played like 2 50,000-pound
You
pots
could have a missed
already.
flush draw,
This
that's
is
the
a pretty
only
big pot.
You could have the missed flush draw. All this work for nothing if I get it wrong? I think you're bluffing me, Tony. Really do. It's been a great game.
Oh my gosh! If he does call, do you know what Tony G is going to do?
Can't go against my gut instinct.
Oh my gosh. The place is gonna erupt.
It is.
I mean, the walls are actually gonna fall down.
Made a big raise pre-flop. That's the only thing that I don't like.
He's made so many hero calls throughout this session. Calling with ace high and a big 4-bet pot pre-flop. Can he get away from 2-pair here? If he does bust here, he's going to only be able to buy back in for 20,000. So part of it might want to protect his stack so he can still play some big pots in the future.
Sorry guys, it's a big pot.
Amazing pot. Look how Tony G is keeping all the emotion off his face. But if Roberto calls, you can just imagine like the torrent that is going to come out of his mouth. Oh my! I don't even know if the world is prepared.
Got any predictions, Jesse?
I think he's calling. I really do. Calling? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think he's just, you know, he's won the WPT, he's won the EPT. That's been the last 4.5 months. He's called.
Got to put all the chips in.
He called.
I did say all in.
Yeah, I called.
The butchers of Baghdad are out. 2 red ones.
Nice hand.
They're in play.
I would never do that anyway.
No, I don't understand. It's all good.
That's the biggest pot this season?
All that for nothing.
I just didn't want to. Oh, you can always rebuy.
Nah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's hard as a player to recover in this situation. I expect him to say
Like everything.
Gee.
Just beat the bluff. 2 pairs.
2 pairs.
What's that? 2 pairs. It's beating the bluff. That's all.
Gee.
It's beating a missed flush draw.
At least you had the
I
hat.
don't think this big game will ever be the same.
Had the hat to pull the trigger.
I'm sitting here speechless.
You're good enough for my game. You're qualified.
It was a pleasure, guys. I think I'm done.
Tony G. He's going for the big game record now.
So we're here with Roberto Romanello, who has been a massive character at the table for quite a few hours. So sad to see you go.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I grinded more or less from nothing up to 50,000 in the end. I was virtually falling asleep at the table as well. It was tough playing through 2 days, but I tried to do it, and I started to wake up at the end as well. I was getting a little bit fresher.
Yeah, we saw some good action from you nonetheless.
Yeah, it's not your normal game, you know. It's not your normal tournament game. It's like a wild game, and you don't know where the hell you are sometimes, and you have to make some big decisions, you know. And it ended up me for grinding for 2 days to build, you know, 7,000 into 50,000, and then it's quite heartbreaking to lose it all in one pot. But that's the game, you know. And you know, one wrong decision and it's gone.
Stunning! Tony G's just taken out one of the hottest players in poker. Roberto was ahead over 35,000 pounds at one stage. He's wiped out, losing 15 grand, and Tony G now ahead 154,000 pounds. That's a big game record.
Returning to the table to see if he can improve on his 15k from last time he played here. It's Mr. Dave Elliott, Devilfish in seat 1.
Give us a clap, lads, give us a clap. Hey, do I put this on? Clowns to the left and the jokers to the right. To the lefty.
Yes, there was only one thing this game was missing. The Devilfish. Just when it couldn't get any crazier.
Things are really hotting up here at the Dusk Till Dawn Casino. Join us after the break, where we'll have a dramatic double eviction here at Party Poker, the big game 5. As we're nearing the end of our 48-hour marathon session this time round, we are going for a double Eviction. So 2 people seated right now at the big game table will be evicted at the end of this vote. They will be voted out by the Poker News online viewers. Gentlemen, the results are in, and the 2 players with the highest number of votes who will now be evicted from the big game table are number 1, Martins Adeniya, and Kristijonas Andrulis.
See you later, bro. Hold up.
Well, Kristijonas is,
you know what happened, buddy?
what about
You dressed too
18,000
sharp. You gotta
pounds?
come on here looking like a slob. And then next time,
He moves
Clearly, I have the feeling that he could have gotten evicted by the player vote as well, because he was pretty good. He was really being a pain.
Yeah, he was gone one way or the other. They did not vote the player vote, no question.
Well, it's goodbye to Andrulis. He's pretty happy leaving with a decent profit. Not such good news for other evictee, though, Martin today.
Speculation on who the final 2 players are going to be coming in now after the double eviction. And
Online, the people voted off Neil Channing, but the table decided to vote off the fish. So, because sometimes the table decides and the public signs if it's at the time.
Mike Matusow knows that he just knows that he'll never get voted off by the public and never get voted off by the table. He just doesn't care either way.
Yeah. He's not too worried about it.
He's a mood.
He's more concerned about the fact that he's stuck 28,000 pounds and he wants. We got a few hours left here in the big game. He wants a chance to get a chance to pull out a winning session.
And I feel like Matusow, I mean, he's got very little to lose here. I mean, he's lost a lot of money. This is a big game. Don't you think he just needs to kind of ram and jam a little bit?
700.
Yeah, I think he's. It goes a little bit against his style, but if there's ever a time to kind of mix it up a little, this might be a good one for Mike.
I'll tell you what.
700 to play.
Toby Lewis has made this 700 from the small blind, and wow, this is just the new button position, the small blind 3-bet. Of the several thousand hands that we've seen played on the big game 5, I mean, the small blind 3-bet is just overwhelmingly popular.
Yeah, that sure is. It's become sort of in vogue in the last year online to really abuse that, and we're seeing it here.
Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil.
And there's actually a chance that
1600. Dave.
Tony G could give Devilfish a little bit of action here, given that there's so many straight draws and flush draws on board that Tony might really think he's good, but Devilfish decides to just call.
And Tony G has done well not raising, hasn't he? Not that he would or
now
should.
this is an action killer, and hopefully Devilfish doesn't actually get moved off the pot at some point. But it looks like he's gonna take charge of the pot right here.
And, that's incredible. Oh, if you haven't got it.
He's just going to pick up the pot here.
Oh, wow.
The devil going well. He's made 5,000 pounds pretty quickly since sitting back down. Meanwhile, Lisa is now catching up with a young Lithuanian who impressed.
How was playing at the table?
Oh, it was awesome. It was so much fun. It was a blast. Like, everyone was so much fun, and the game was loose and aggressive. We played a lot of hands, and, well, that's all you need, basically.
Biggest winners in the big game. Tony G's now the biggest winner ever in big game history at this stage. 151,000 pounds in profit. Doesn't show any signs now of stopping. Great night for Jennifer Tilley, Robert Williamson. The Wolf still at the table here, 32,000 pounds. And Andrulis, recent evictee, has now made the top 8. Bad news on the other side. Toby Lewis has lost 6,000 pounds more since he sat back down, while Matusow still got a little more in the pain threshold, 33K loser. Trickett left 40K down, and Rob Young lost 50K in his own club.
Join us next time at the Dusk Till Dawn Casino for more from the Party Poker Big Game 5.
No surprise he's not rocking when you're all saying, well played, good fold, Tony, good fold.
I'm one of the greatest. Just give me the puck.
I see how focused you are.
I was getting excited then.